Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a quick update on where we're at with the CMS. I know a lot of you are anxiously waiting for the first release of the CMS. That's not the update I've got for you today. That will be coming as soon as we possibly can get it into your hands. What I want to show you today is just some of the updates we've made and just give you a quick update so that you're aware of where we're at with the CMS. Okay, so the first thing I want to address is I've seen a couple of posts and a couple of comments on the forums around, is this really a true CMS? So what I've demoed previously, as you would have seen in this blog template on the previous video, is collections and individual items from collections. So essentially a blog. I think some of you might be confused around whether this is a full CMS system or just a blogging system. So I want to address that first straight away. It is a full CMS system, and I'm going to show you how you can use pieces or individual pieces of custom content across your site. So for example, here we've got the Iron Pulse title for this project up here. This is hard-coded text. If we wanted to change this to be dynamic and use data from the CMS, we can do that very easily. All we would do is take an individual item component. So we drop the item into here, and we're going to put that text into the item. So this is still hard-coded right now, but all we need to do is hook up this item to some data. So to do that, we'll go to settings, we're going to choose a link, and we're going to go and choose one of our globals. So I've created a site info global. You can create as many files as you want and call them whatever you want. You can manage this structure yourself. I'm going to choose this site info, and I'm going to set the link. Now we have access to the data in that file. So if we actually look at the global site info file, you'll see we have a title, a slogan, founded, and an image. So really we want to use this title in here. So to do that, because we now have access to all of the data in that file, we can simply do item.title. Okay. Now when we go and preview that in the browser, you'll see that that has been updated here. So it looks exactly the same as it was before, but just to prove that this is working, we're going to say Iron Pulse Gym, like so. Okay, so let's go back and preview, and you'll see that that's been updated there in the browser. Okay, so that is how you link up data to or link up the components to an individual piece of data. So that can be, as you saw in here, we can have titles, this is text, we can have arrays of data, we can even have images. And that brings me on to the next update. You can now fully link or easily link any of your images to your resources. So you can see here, I've got an image and I want to set the source to my images/3D logo. So you can see here in my resources, I've got an images folder and a 3D logo.png. What will happen in the CMS under the hood is we will link up these images by default to all of your resources. However, if you want a remote resource, all you need to do is enter the URL for that image. And I'll show you that in action in a second. But how do we use that image in here? So as an example, let's just get an image. We're going to drop that into here, and I want to hook it up to the CMS. So we need to do that. This isn't going to work instantly, just like this, because we need to use that item. So any data you want from your CMS, it needs to be inside one of the CMS components. And in this instance, we want a single item. So we want a single piece of data from the CMS. Again, we need to hook up what data do we want to use here. Again, we wanted the site info. I'm going to set that link, and then I'm going to put the image inside of that item. Now when we're saying we want to use the CMS, we now have access to all of the data from the file, and we had set an image.source. So that's going to use that image source, which was a local resource. I'm just going to set the sizing on this so that we can see things a little bit better. And let's just pop this into the middle of the page like so. And if we go and preview that, you'll see we now get that 3D logo straight on the page. So Hopefully you can see here, this is a full CMS. You can manage the data however you want. You can create as much data as you want. You can even pick out files from a collection and use them as a single item. So even a collection file doesn't need to be always used in the collection. You can pull that out. Let's say you had a featured blog post that you always want on a specific page. You can do that just by linking an individual item to any file in your CMS data. Okay, this is kind of cool though, because also, obviously, as you saw, I'm just using a standard image here, and this gives you all of the controls that you're used to. So we could make this rounded if we wanted to. Let's put some border radius on here. And yeah, you're used to all of this stuff. We can set a box shadow and so on, and we can just preview. That gets updated. You've got all the styling controls that you're used to in Elements alongside the power of this CMS. Okay, next thing I wanted to talk about was we have added support for item authors or related data essentially under the hood. I've done a lot of work to ensure that the relationships between different collections now work nicely. So if we wanted, rather than typing, we're not actually using the item author on here at the moment. So if we want the item author, there's this nice component here that we can just drop in, and that will pre-fill, or that will automatically grab the author data for you. Let's just style this so it looks a little bit nicer. We're going to set the size to small, and I'm going to increase the weight there. Excuse me. However, what this does is it will just grab the item author for you. And the way that works is when you have your collection, so this collection here is hooked up to this folder of posts. As long as you have a folder with the related data, such as author and tags, as long as you have those, the collection items will automatically pull in the data for that related thing, like an author. So yeah, so let's just preview this and you'll get an idea of what's going on. So you can see here now, we've got the author and we've got the image for that author. So we could make that author image, let's make that slightly larger just so you can see it a bit better. This is also a local resource. So related data can use local resources or remote images for any piece of their data there. So if I show you this this file here, you'll see we've got the image, and the source for that is the images / and then the image name, and you can see that image is here. So this is the image being used. The CMS under the hood will link up the path to that resource for you automatically, and it gets injected into the CMS data. So related data is now working really nicely. Everything just works. I think I've might have hooked it up on here. No, I haven't. But if we pop it onto here as well, you can see we can use that on an individual item. Let's just set this again, and we'll leave it like that for now. And if we refresh the preview, you can see that gets pulled in there. So it works on collections, it works on single items. You can relate data to each other. Okay, the final thing I wanted to just clear up before I wrap this up is local versus remote images in your CMS. So you can see here, we have this image, there's a source set, and this is currently going to an Unsplash image. So the future of desert fitness post, which is here, this image is coming from Unsplash. Yeah, so if we wanted to use a local resource instead, all we need to do is, as you've already seen on the other data there, is set a local resource path. So we've got this folder of images. If I wanted to, for example, use this one instead, all we need to do is know the name of this file and the path or the folder that it's in. So this is remote. This automatically gets marked as remote because it's a URL. But if we change this to images / and then the name of the file .jpg, if we go back and preview that, so you can see here I'm using the on the post template page, you'll see I'm using the item image source. Let's get rid of the author just for demo purposes. There you can see when we refresh the post page, that's now using the local resource instead of the remote resource. So on the gym page here, you'll see that's been updated. This is now local. The rest of these are remote. You can mix and match them as you like. And yeah, everything just works under the hood. It's all taken care of for you. Okay, I think that's basically most of the updates I can show you today. There's a lot of other stuff going on under the hood, a lot of other things planned. I'm hoping that we can get this at least a beta version or a first version of this in your hands very, very soon. However, do leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. I know everyone's waiting for it, and like I say, we're going to get this out to you as quick as we possibly can.